Right, what is going on, y'all? Today we're going to play some blue-white control. The meta, as I have seen of late, has very much diversified in threats, especially with the release of Kamigawa. There is a lot more relevant enchantments and artifacts and generally non-creature permanents that you have to worry about. There's also the new Planeswalkers in the Wanderer and Kaito that are going around as well. So Doomscar doesn't really cut it anymore. We have to run some Devastating Masteries to destroy all non-land permanents, and that makes me want to not have many non-land permanents of my own. We're also trying out Farewell from the new set as well, that exiles instead of destroys, which is going to be relevant sometimes. There is a lot of incidental graveyard interaction. There's Edgar's and Blood on the Snows and such like. Also, the enchantments deck can get stuff back from their graveyard with a Ganjo. All sorts of things where exiling is relevant. All the new mythic dragons have death triggers, so if you're exiling them, they don't get those, though haven't seen many people playing them. I've elected to play a single copy of the blue one here as a finisher. It is the only one of the only real threats in the deck as a 6-mana 6/6 flyer. Ward 3, so it's a little hard to interact with. I think this is a bit better than most of the others. And then when it dies, you can bounce a couple of your opponent's things, or you can return some instants and or sorceries from your graveyard to your hand, which is going to be pretty relevant here if we get there, as we have lots of good instants and sorceries to return. Another new card we're trying out is March of the Otherworldly Light. This is a very interesting removal spell for X and a white. It exiles target artifact, creature, or enchantment with mana value X or less. And as an additional cost to cast this spell, you can exile any number of white cards from your hand, which each pay for 2. So if you have only white up, you can cast this and exile 2 white cards from your hand and take out your opponent's 4-drop. Also exiles, as we talked about before, very important. Also, this just being spot removal that can hit creatures or artifacts or enchantments. Very nice against that diverse threats I mentioned earlier. Otherwise, we've got pretty much what you'd expect. We have some Mimeria's Calls as another win con, and of course some Halls of the Storm Giants. And we have some Witness the Futures, just to reshuffle our graveyard, so we don't deck ourselves out before our opponents do. We're not going to be doing a whole lot of actually winning the game, so sometimes it does come down to this, as we do only have the 5 cards that can actually attack and kill the opponent. The other non-land permanent I'm running is Teferi, mostly for the life gain. A lot of the creature decks will get you down to 5 or so, even through the Sunset Revelry, and then even though you've taken complete control of the game, they won't leave until your life total gets up to 10, so we play Teferi, very good at that. Also draw some cards in the control matchups, very nice. Generally, we've got some counter spells, we've got some removal spells, we've got some card draw, 3 Beholds, 4 Deluges, so plenty of card draw here. Also some Ganjos, Otawaras, and Field of Ruin in the meta base to have a bit more interaction with our lands. Both of these are very good cards, generally. Just having a land that you can also use as a removal spell in your control deck is fantastic. Field of Ruin, there's a lot of creature lands still out there. Total of 24 lands, plus a couple Jwaris and Miria's Call, for a total of 28. So we should be just fine in the land department. That is the deck. Let's go try it out. Yeah, that hand should be fine. Got some removal, got some card advantage, got a sweeper. Need some more white sources for this mastery, of course, but should get there eventually. Drawing the Jwari means we probably want to hold that up rather than foretelling Behold here. You could have a wedding announcement or something that'll really mess up my day. Yep, and then next turn we can march the Kami, and we're in a pretty good spot. Or we can saw it coming, their Hallowed Haunting or something. That's pretty good too. That's fine. Let's take this out. exiles, so they don't get it back with the enchantments leaving the battlefield part. And nothing else, nice. Hold up, saw it coming, slash Fierce Retribution, slash Behold here. I think we're saying no on that. It's probably their whole turn. Maybe not. Must have drawn this. They would have played it last turn, probably. I think I'm witnessing here for a land. And then we use spot removal. Pass on the Jwari, we'll take the others, I think. Untapped land found. Take out their cost reduction, I think. Might make the rest of their turn less good. And Catilda, sure. Try and find another land here. Ganjo's good. Still need a fourth white source, so I'm passing on the Witness. And we can absence the Catilda here. Yeah, that's fine. And just one more white source and we can make this all go away. There it is. If they don't have a creature, just running it off now is fine. This costs 5 from the graveyard? Alright, yeah, we're fine. Let's just do it now before they can get value off the clue. I'm going to field my Hall. Sure. I don't need win cons. Tap it here. Maybe I get a plane, still hold up this for 1. It's probably not worth it though. I only have one other blue source. Yeah, we'll get an island. Okay, that's a creature. We can march it though, fairly easily. Let's just fire this off, I think. Try and find more lands. Guess Sunset Revelry is good here. Guess I can't really turn down a Deluge either. Though this gives flying, right? So Sunset Revelry is not great. The life would be nice, but we're at 10. We don't really need it. Okay, play this on blue so we can Deluge, I think. Probably not going to need to cast both March and Absence this turn. If they try and enchant this, of course we'll just kill it. We'll save the March for something that only it can hit. As this also hits enchantments, notably, which is important. I think we're fine going for this here. Definitely want the Behold. I guess a D-Stroke's fine if they have more Hauntings. Don't really need Doomscar with Farewell already in hand. Short. That is not a threat for a while. It goes away from Farewell. Nothing else. Okay, I'll draw more cards. Threat's probably good here, right? Guess I don't really want a Fierce Retribution. Already have one spot removal spell. My opponent might not be convinced to leave this game unless I have a win con. Probably getting back a Naturalist here. Maybe they want a companion. Sure. Let's say no to that. It's probably the only real D-stroke target in their deck. And they can't kill this through Ward 3 with only 3 mana up. So now we just start attacking for 6. Seems okay. Let's see, if I foretell, can I still do this? No. So no foretelling. We'll just pass, hold up Deluge, March, and/or Field of Ruin. Now that they played out some more cards, my Sunset Revelry gets better. Fine, taking one here, not a problem. The announcement's a little annoying, but we can still Farewell before anything too bad happens. I think we'll just Deluge, or we can just March the announcement here. I don't really care about the announcement, right? I have Sunset Revelry. We should be fine for the moment. Miria's Call might convince them to give up a little faster. And I guess I saw it coming. Sure. There's a land. Get our attack in. See, if I make 2 4/4s here, can they possibly beat me? I guess I can both Revelry and make 2 4/4s, and then the answer is almost certainly no. And if they manage to go completely off with 2 cards in hand, we can still Farewell. Borrowed Time, sure. That makes my Farewell much better, because then it gives me back my dragon. They do, of course, have to do something, or they're dead in the air next turn. Circle can take out an Angel here. Yep. They still don't have any good attacks into the other one. There's a Teferi, nice. Attack for 4. And Farewell and goodbye. Creatures, enchantments, artifacts just for good measure. Don't want graveyards in case we get close to decking. We have our protection down there. Get back my dragon. Play Teferi. I'll draw a card.
Change of plans to keep things fresh.
Take the Witness, I guess. And that'll do it. Good stuff. Our new, bigger, fancier sweepers definitely showing their merit there against the enchantments deck. Traditional Doomscar would not be nearly as good there, of course. Doesn't take out their restorations. Exiling is relevant with the restorations as well. Good stuff. Yeah, that seems fine. 4-lander. Interaction, Planeswalker Sweeper. Looks like a control mirror. I think this is a land. Jwari might tag something important. Hold up in Jwari here. Against Jeskai. See if they are traditional control or some mill build. We've seen some of both. Now we have Jwari and Sod coming available. Short. Probably not planning to ferry into 2 open mana here. Yeah, definitely not. We can Deluge, though. Maybe I'm supposed to foretell there, so next turn we can have Teferi with Sod coming available. But I think just getting card quantity here is important. Deluge might also bait one of their counterspells out. Opponent debating taking a game action here. If they do tap their mana, that's of course very good for us. I guess they have to discard the hand size if they don't. I think Jwariing here is fine. Don't really want to let them have any sort of mana advantage. They could play Spell Pierce too, which they could cast off the treasure. So we get Teferi down. They could have damage-based removal, so I'm going to plus here and then foretell.
Don't worry.
Gold span, sure. Probably just want to hit that with a Ganjo next turn. So we can foretell this and then have a Ganjo open. Or saw it coming, but not both. I think I'd rather just have both open. So I'm not going to use my mana here. Artifact, creature, land.
Second here, a second there. Who's counting?
Who's counting? So yeah, this is the more traditional play Goldspan and just rely on that to win. Probably Hullbreaker 2 and the Hinata Opus. I think we'll just counter that, huh? Don't really need them getting cost reduction. Alright, second Goldspan. Let's see if they send both to Teferi. If they do, then we'll just Deluge. Nope, only want it to ferry. Sure. Before they make the treasure, we'll do this. Not a spell, so they don't get a treasure from it. Okay, that's a land. Could just farewell here. Get rid of their gold span and their treasures, which is not terrible. Then we can foretell the behold. Or I can behold and hope to find removal for the gold span, of which we have 5 copies remaining. 1 a Ganjo, 2 Fateful Absences, 2 of the Cleave one. Fierce Retribution. I think we're better off going for Farewell. Artifacts, creatures. The graveyards too. Don't have anything in here I particularly care about. They might have Fading Hope for their gold span, which would be kind of bad. Or the Blue March would also get it, or save it here. Yeah, there's the Blue March, sure. Still got their treasures. And do I want the 2 life? Because if they're attacking to ferry down, I'd rather just take the card here.
That didn't go according to plan. Ah, the eternal question.
March, Witness, Deluge.
The way or the fun way?
Guess it has to be March, right? We have plenty of card draw already. Just play this out and try and march their gold span. See if they have another solution. Fading Hope, sure. It's a lot of treasures, but Goldspan's not attacking us this turn. No plays, huh? I Deluge. Try and find some counter/removal spells here. Most of these lists don't run many hard counter spells that I've seen anyway. Well, that's not great. But I guess Revelry gains 4 in cycles. So probably better off playing the Behold here. Not terribly likely to draw some relevant 2 or 3 mana spell off the Revelry. Yeah, we are a fair bit behind here. They've been pacing their gold spans well. If we do this now before they have 1,000,000 mana, Mastery is not bad. It's probably better than March here. So March is instant speed. The Mastery hits the treasures as well. I'll take Mastery. Okay, still no casting Opus. Go for that. Keep whittling down their mana advantage here. Be nice to find some Fateful Absences or Fierce Retributions. A bit more efficient way to take care of Goldspan. But my opponent clearly has plenty of ways to protect Goldspan, so maybe that's not really the answer. Okay, they just use their treasures in response. Fine. I guess they can find something with this Deluge that'll protect the Goldspan. What a fitting hope, sure. Still good to kill the treasures, though. Gain some life. Disdainful Stroke, nice. Just what I'm looking for. Probably the best 2-mana spell. Just the best draw we could possibly have there to do on this turn. Alright, Goldspan down. Hopefully we can Deluge here to reload a bit. Opponent might have to discard the hand size. Still do. And that means my Deluge resolves. You have enough mana to play it through Spell Pierce. Things are looking up. Kayuri. Is that better? Probably not without any means to defend it. I'll go for this while they're tapped out. Try and find some counterspells to stop their next plays. Beautiful. Right, it's just both counterspells here. It's much more effective than Fateful Absence, which gets hosed by Fading Hope or the Blue March, and gives them a card as well. I guess I can go ahead and foretell this. There's nothing they're going to play that doesn't get hit by D-Stroke. Still have one of these open either way. The only place that's bad is if they have Jwari, but they would have Jwari last time. They have the third Goldspan here, we're in some trouble. Doesn't look like it. Nice. Play my big flying threat. And pass. See if they can exile it. Probably not. And if they just straight up kill it, I get 2 spells back from my graveyard, which is lovely. Or they'll just do nothing, and I can start attacking. And there's a Teferi. Don't really want to expose the Hall of the Storm Giants. Probably just playing Teferi here. Well, do you take 6, opponent? Counting my lands. Magma Opus. No thanks. That is... yeah, that would put me to 12, and then they attack for 4. Not great for me. Not sure why they wouldn't do it at upkeep, but sure. Draw a card here.
Like a change of plans to keep things fresh.
Otawara seems decent. Can bounce their Goldspan or Hinata. Or my Teferi if they decide to attack him. I don't think I have any reason not to play out this Plains. Time for a second Magma Opus, looks like. We'll go to combat. Maybe I should plus Teferi there first. But I'm greedy. I want to untap my 6/6. If they go for the Opus here, we'll Deluge in response. Try and find a counterspell. You do have to pay the ward 3 if you want to target Kairi, which they do not have the mana to do. They're one short, right? 4+4+2. Okay, target's chosen. 1, 2. Deluge. See if I can find a counterspell here. Not quite, so it looks like Teferi's going down. And their life total will be lower after this. So Sunset Revelry is not great. We'll probably Otawara our Teferi here. So we'll just take Witness, end the land, and then do this. Costs 1 less because this is legendary. Resolves. Attack for 6. I think I want to Witness overplaying Teferi here. Let's try and stop them from doing anything terribly stupid. D-stroke, D-stroke. Saw it coming. And what else? Is that it? Might be it. Guess I'll put the Behold back in too. Witness the Future is kind of funny with Hinata out. I've attempted to cast this for like 8 mana against an opposing Hinata, and yeah, that'll do. Is there a point in foretelling? No. Might still want to Field of Ruin, theoretically. It's possible they can burn me out from 14 here. Let's see. Am I supposed to counter the Hinata? Let's see. I guess they don't have the mana for an Opus after this Hinata. They only have 7 left. Unless they have a second one, and then they can still cast Opus for 2. We've been through 2 of their Hinatas already. And 2 Opuses seems unlikely. 3 Hinatas, actually. So it looks like they're dead to Hall of the Storm Giants here. Unless they can remove either of my Ward 3 monsters. Fading Hope, sure. That does stop it for now. D-stroke, nice draw. Can I power up Hall and D-stroke and Teferi here? Because that's probably what I want to do. Yes. 1. Play Teferi. Plus
I could explain
no
what
artifact,
I do, but
creature,
rather show than tell.
land. End
Give me a
turn.
moment. Or a few.
Of course, now they can start jumping the Hall of the Storm Giants and still be at 1. Once again, they don't have the mana for Opus after casting that gold span, so countering it is just fine. Still attack. Interesting. Guess they have another Fading Hope for this Hall of the Storm Giants. Still go for it, though. Make them have it. How many Fading Hopes have we been through? I guess they also probably run several marches. Yeah, so that's the 4th Fading Hope. Do not have the mana to counter after a Deluge here. Resolve. I think I'm just keeping my life total high here, so we can play Kayuri plus Teferi.
Don't worry. It's only a little mischief.
Duration's fine. We've been through 1 Hinata, 1 gold span, 2 gold span, 2 Hinata, 3 Hinata, 3 gold span. So there's 1 remaining Hinata, 1 remaining gold span, and up to 2 Magma Opuses left. There's the 4th Hinata. I will tap it down with the berry. So I guess we'll power up the hall first, and then untap things. Just to get the mana out of it. See if they've got anything here. Can Magma Opus for 2, but then they also have to pay 3 to tap my Kayuri. And they have to do it before attacks. Do they have it? Still 23 cards left in their deck. If they have it, do we attack with all the Storm Giants? I think so. Because we want to force a block with one of their 4/4s. Otherwise, we might be dead on the backswing. Alright, it's just a march. Not an Opus. Sure. So now we definitely attack with the Hall, make them jump.
I've got some time tinkering to do.
Board 3, pretty good. When your opponent's at 13 or something lands. Play it back up just in case they have Field of Ruin and pass. Maybe it's better to play the untapped land, so then we can Deluge into Saw It Coming. Or no, Deluge into D-Stroke or 2-mana removal spell. We have to remember the Hinata tax. So now our Deluge just draws cards, we can't use any of them next turn. But at 12, we should be okay. Especially if they didn't have the Opus there, they would have to find it off the top. Fateful Absence. Okay.
This is hardly my worst defeat.
They attack. Interesting. Must have something for the Kyrie then. I cast Deluge. Draw some counterspells? No. Guess I'll take a Doomscar here. And another Deluge. Just in case this attack with the Kyrie does not work out the way I want it to, we can Doomscar. Let's see, do I have the mana to play another one? I do. But then do I lose? If they have anything. Let's see, I have 9 mana open. It's not enough for a Fierce Retribution. I think I play it somewhat safe here and just attack with these two. If they do anything pre-attacks, of course, I can still power up the other hall. But this also gives me the line of Deluge into Counterspell. And hold open Fierce Retribution for their attacks next turn, if we get there. Another March. Okay. Resolve the Lord 3s. Alright, and then they're phasing out Hinata as well, which they probably shouldn't do here, because that means they don't get the discount to phase out this one. So then I can do this, and now we still have Fierce Retribution open through the Hinata attacks. They might have Fierce Retribution of their own, or maybe an Aganjo, as they suddenly got priority when I attacked, I think. But don't think there's anything they can have that saves them here, since we've already seen all 4 Fading Hopes. I'm Opus, okay. And game. Good stuff. Theory, actually pretty impressive there. All the Storm Giants, delightful as always. Right, back to go over the deck. That went pretty well. Kairi actually did quite well in both of those games. Maybe there is something to this card. Didn't actually get the Dies trigger off of it, of course, but if I did in either of those games, the instants and sorceries back to my hand would have been hugely impactful. But it did not die, it just sat on the board and won the game, which is, of course, also important. Maybe some win cons are okay, but don't need that many. Of course, one of is probably fine, along with the Amiria's Calls and Halls of the Storm Giants. You might be able to go up to 3 of these. I don't think you want more than that, as tapped lands in the late game are bad when you're trying to cast your sweepers on turn 5 and 6, and this doesn't produce white as well, which is not very good for Devastating Mastery. But yeah, this deck performed just as I drew it up. March of the Otherworldly Light was a nice addition as well. Not always the most efficient removal, but it is probably the most versatile removal spell you can play at the moment. Does not hit Planeswalkers, notably, but that's why we have Fateful Absence. Same thing with Farewell, notably does not hit Planeswalkers, but Devastating Mastery does. So I don't think you can just completely go all in on Farewell and March of the Otherworldly Light, because Orzhov Planeswalkers is definitely a big thing still. But yeah, this build was good if you want to play real traditional do-nothing-all-day control. I think this is the way to do it. If you want to play more aggressive big Timmy control, then you can play the Goldspans and Magma Opuses that we saw in the second game there. The counterspell balance seemed fine. Just about everything has a D-stroke target nowadays. It's pretty much only mono white, and of course counterspells in general aren't going to be terribly good against mono white. If you get Thaliad on the play on turn 2, there's not going to be a whole lot you can do, but that's just mono white for you. But yeah, it showed the prowess of the choices against the enchantment deck, which is one of the new ones I was talking about in the beginning with the threat diversity, and took on the control mirror quite well with only the 4 real counterspells there. Yeah, that's the deck. Thanks for watching.